I was about to say, I'm going back.
Call him back today. Call him back today. That's the beauty of it. All right, good
Oh
job.
my God.
Okay, so let's jump into today. So what I want to talk about today, the guy that I'm referring to, his name is John Peyton. So John Peyton, so Realogy is the company that owns Century 21, Coldwell Banker, Sotheby's, Better Home and Garden, so on and so forth. Each of those companies has a president. Okay, Mike Meadler is the president of Century 21, for example. John Peyton is the president of all the presidents of the Realogy company. Okay, so he's kind of a big deal in the Realogy world, in the real estate world. So we had the good fortune of talking with John a couple years back, and I was just going through. I always liked John. I like his interviews and stuff like that. And I'm, again, always interested in people that are, pretty successful in business. And the guy who's the president of the presidents of Realogy seems like he's done a few things right in his life. So I was reviewing his notes and I was reviewing the interview, and he had said there are 7 things that separate the great real estate agents from the rest of the world. There's 7 things that separate the great real estate agents from the rest of the world. And he highlighted what those 7 things are. And so what I want to go through today is those 7 things, and then some points below each of those 7 as to a little bit more detail on that. So get your pen, get your paper, whatever you're writing with, you're typing with, and let's go ahead and get started here. So the first point, and he didn't say if these were written in any specific order. So I'm just going to go in the order that he said them. I don't know if there's a specific reason for that, but let's just do it that way. The first point that he said is hard work. Hard work. Right? Now, hard work can be kind of vague, right? Hard work can be kind of vague. So everyone's got their own definition of hard work. Here's my individual basic definition of hard work. Okay. Hard work is either working more than others. Hard work is either working more than others or doing the hard things that others won't. Hard work is either working more than others or doing the hard things that others won't do. So you're either putting in more hours on the job, or you're working the same hours, you're just doing things, the hard stuff that other people don't want to do. So give me an example of, in real estate terms, doing the hard things that others won't do.
Prospecting.
Cold calling.
Prospecting, cold calling, sure. What else?
Scripts.
Scripts, yes. I think I heard door knocking. Yes. Okay, great. Prospecting, cold calling, scripts, door knocking. Gustavo says consistency of action. Yeah, consistency. Sure. What else? What else? What else would be considered doing hard things in real estate that others won't do?
Follow up.
Follow up. Sure. Follow up's hard because you have to actually track who to follow up with. Sure. Get it. What else?
Being consistent on listing presentations.
Being consistent on listing presentations. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. It's much easier to just go into a listing presentation and just wing it. The hard part is learning a script and being consistent with it. Sure. Absolutely. Good. I love it. Okay. So all of you are right. And all of you are pretty much on point with what I wrote down underneath that. Here's a couple other things that I wrote down in hard work. Is working on the days you're scheduled to work. Keeping it very simple. Hard work could simply be working on the days you're scheduled to work. Now, let's be honest here. Do you always work on the days you're scheduled to work?
No.
No. Let's be honest. Okay. You may show up. Okay. But as we talk about all the time, have you ever had a day when you're physically present, but not mentally present? Just me.
No, I had that Saturday.
I just make sure now the good news for you, I make sure that those days I never have training classes. So, it might be a Tuesday maybe that, is one of those days where I'm here, but not really here. Never when I have a class, get excited for those. But we're all guilty of it. But hard work is simply working on the days that you're scheduled to work, because in real estate, do most real estate agents work on the days that they're scheduled to work? Like, do they really work? Most real estate agents? No. It's impossible to work on the days you're supposed to work and not close a deal all year. And yet 50% of real estate agents manage to do that. Okay. Now, I'm not saying now some people are on teams, some people are, have other things going on. So that's not, I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad. I'm just saying that if you're really committed to a full-time job of real estate and you have nothing else going on in your life and you work all the days you're scheduled to work, you're going to close a deal. Okay. Work the days you're scheduled to work. I wrote down here, you all mentioned it was prospecting, but I mentioned massive prospecting. Now, massive prospecting, I'm not talking about 50 contacts a day, but hard work could be working more than others are. There's a lot of real estate agents that stay in touch with their database, a couple people a day. Do most real estate agents call 15 or 20 people a day? Do most real estate agents talk to 15 or 20 people a day?
No.
Probably not.
No. It's hard to get people in our company to do it, and you have people like Neil and I drilling you on it every day. Imagine if you didn't work for our company. No. So hard work can just be simply massive prospecting, 15 to 20 people a day. That could be considered hard work. Here's another one I wrote down, hard work. Asking for business. Asking for business. Calling a friend of yours and asking them if they know someone who's looking to buy or sell. That's hard work. Why would I write that down as hard work? Why do some people think that's hard work?
Embarrassed to ask their friends.
Yep. Okay. Right. They're embarrassed to ask their friends. They think they're begging for business. Right. They don't want to be that person. Okay. So asking for business can be hard work, but that's doing the hard things that others won't do. This is what creates successful agents. You have to ask for the business. How about this? Asking them to sign the contract. Why is asking them to sign the contract hard work for some people? Come on. Why is asking for them to sign the contract hard work for some people?
Like that's the easy part.
Rejection.
Rejection. Yeah. Afraid of rejection. Gustavo says afraid of success. Yeah, absolutely. Creates an uncomfortable moment for some people. So when they ask for the contract signed, they go, and so, if you're ready and you want to, look, there's no obligation, obviously it's up to you. There's no time frame, but if you're ready for it, I'm more than happy to help you, but no pressure. Because they don't want to seem, I want you to write this down. It's hard
Pushy.
work. Yeah. They don't want to seem salesy. Asking for the contract is salesy. I am not trying to be salesy. I don't know. This is going to break some of you. You are in sales. Asking someone to sign the contract is part of the sales process in anything. Okay. Asking them to sign the contract is hard work because we don't want to sound pushy. We're afraid of rejection. But this is what separates the great agents. I wrote down here, someone mentioned scripts, memorizing scripts. That's hard work. Here's the other thing I wrote down, hard work, learning personality styles. Learning personality styles is hard work because it's tough to learn. They're easy to talk about, but they're hard to learn, okay? It's hard to pick up personality styles, but that's what separates the great agents, okay? So hard work is point number one. Point number 2 is discipline. Discipline. So again, for those of you just joining, we're going over John Peyton, who's the president of all the presidents of the Realogy company. He went over his 7 rules for success in real estate. First one was hard work. Number 2 is discipline. So what could be considered under discipline as a real estate agent? What are some actions or some things that would be discipline as a real estate agent? Help me.
Follow the schedule.
Schedule.
Following a schedule. Discipline, right? Real estate, discipline. Create a schedule, follow a schedule. Right? What else?
Prospect daily.
Prospect daily. Consistency again. That's a discipline. Absolutely, 100%. What else? What else? Come on. That's it? Schedule and discipline?
Ego.
Ego. Ego. Gustavo says, ask for the business. Be intentional. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Sam, I agree with you 100%. I wrote down there, remove the ego. Discipline requires you to remove your ego. 100%.
Mindset.
Mindset. Man, mindset's part of discipline. 100%. Yep. How about this? Create a business plan and follow a business plan is discipline. Zig Ziglar, how can a man hit a target he cannot see? How can you hit a target you do not have? Discipline is creating a business plan and then following a business plan. I don't want anybody to answer this question because I'm afraid of what the answer may be. How many of you have not looked at your business plan since January 1st? Don't answer. Okay. Some of you probably look at it every day. Others of you, maybe not so much. But discipline is creating a business plan and following a business plan, making sure that you're on track with the goals that you're looking to accomplish. That's daily discipline, following a schedule, create a schedule. Create a schedule and follow a schedule daily. I wrote down here under discipline is eliminate distractions. Discipline requires you to eliminate distractions. Now, who are the people that distract you the most?
Family.
Someone say family.
Myself.
Yeah, yourself. Gustavo says self. Tanya says self.
I agree.
Okay. So I wrote down here 2 things. I heard family. So family, here's what I want you to write down. Eliminate distractions on family. Your family is distracting you because they don't think you have a real job. So you need to have a sit-down conversation with them and explain to them that you have a real job. And that if they don't distract you and they allow you to do what you're supposed to do on a daily basis, this is how it will benefit them. That's why they distract you. He's a real estate agent. She's a real estate agent. They don't have a set schedule. If I call them at 10:30 in the morning, I expect them to pick up and talk about what's going on with the kids' homework and this and that, or, who's going to pick up the dry cleaning today, because they think you can do it. You got to have a sit down conversation with them. Now, a lot of people said yourself, right? So I want you to write down these 2 words, creative avoidance. Creative avoidance. Creative avoidance is essentially, we will think of anything and any reason to get us away from the things that we are supposed to do, which, remember in point 1, hard work. Creative avoidance is to eliminate, just try to get us to not do that. Well, I can't prospect, Robert. I got to answer these emails. I mean, I got to see what's going on. I can't prospect, I'm trying to figure out this whole CMA thing. I can't prospect. I got to call the dialer company. I can't go preview property today. I mean, it's gas prices are like $6 a gallon. I can't go preview. I got to deal with this social media thing. I got to put out fires, which is my all-time favorite. I got to put out fires. Like a real fire? No. It's amazing how many firefighters are in real estate. Creative avoidance. We will come up with all kinds of ways to not do what we were supposed to do. So let's revert back to create a business plan and follow a business plan. If you have a business plan and that excites you and you follow said business plan that excites you, you will eliminate creative avoidance. If you are avoiding the work, your business plan does not excite you. So go rewrite your goals, which is common. Sometimes your goals change, or sometimes you think it's a goal because it's, well, yeah, you know, everybody wants a bigger house. Maybe that's not really your goal. Discipline. Good stuff. Okay, number 3, do what works. Do what works. Okay. So number 1 was hard work. Number 2 was discipline. Number 3, do what works. So how can you, what's something you could do to find out what works?
Info sparks.
Info sparks. Yeah, sure. Know the market stats, right? Know the trends. What else could you do to find out what works in your business?
Track your numbers.
Track your numbers. Hey, all right. What else could you do? What else could you do?
Take a look at where you're getting most of your business from.
Take a look at where you get most of your business from. 100%. So I wrote down here that all 3, 100%. Track your numbers. Track your numbers. If you want to know what works, track your numbers. Okay. Now, let me give you an example of tracking your numbers and figuring out what works. You track your numbers and you find out that your listing closing ratio is 20%, meaning 20% of the listing presentations you go on, you get a signature. If I see that 20% of your listing presentations, you're getting a signature, what's the first thing I'm going to say is the reason it's so low? Anybody want to take a shot at that? What's the first thing I'm going to go after?
We're not pre-qualifying though.
That's the answer, the pre-qual. So you want to, and so in terms of do what works, if you track your numbers and you see that your listing closing ratio is 20%, I'm going after the pre-qual. Now, I'm going after the pre-qual for a couple of reasons. Number 1 is the more you know about somebody, the better chance you have at getting the listing. That's number 1. But number 2, you might be going on listing presentations that are not real listing presentations. And had you pre-qualified, you would have known that. So your numbers are at 20%, but it's only because of the people that you went on, only 25% were actual sellers. So we need to go back to do what works, such as pre-qual, or don't go on appointments that are not real appointments. Okay, so that could be that. Track your numbers. You could also track your numbers because if you can see how many hours you're prospecting and the numbers per lead or the numbers per appointment is going up, then whatever script you're doing is not working. So we need to reevaluate. Source your business was another one. Source your business. Now I want you to write this down. This is important. What works for somebody else doesn't mean it has to work for you. What works for somebody else doesn't mean it has to work for you. So let me give you an example. Well, Robert, I mean, I do what works. I go after expireds. That's what works. Okay. How many have you closed? 0. It doesn't work for you. I'm not saying that in a negative fashion. It doesn't work for most people in our marketplace. But we hear people that say, well, I go after expireds. So it's like, well, it works for them. It must work for me. That's not necessarily true. Well, you know, I've been to, 500 Mike Ferry events and they always talk about for sale by owner. So I got to go after every for sale by owner. That's what works, right? Does it work for you? No. Then okay. Well, I don't know. Just listed, just sold doesn't seem that great. Does it work for you? Yeah, get business from it and do it. Just because somebody else does expires, just because someone else does for sale by owners, just because someone else doesn't do that, doesn't mean it doesn't work for you. Okay, we have a number of agents in our company. Actually, the two highest producing teams in the company last year were Melinda and Mark and I. We had a lot of fun with that. Combined, now one closed 1.8, the other one made 1.8 million, the other one made 1.6, so they did okay. Combined, closed no expired listings. They don't even call. They've realized that the highest and best use of their time for themselves is database, and then database again, just listed, just solds, and investors. So that's what they harp on. Now we have other agents. You know, you look at someone like Marilyn. Marilyn, I think, closed, I don't know, 8 or 9 expired listings last year. Everybody's different. You do what works for you. So you have to be honest with yourself about what works for you and then do what works. Okay. Which brings to point number 4, which is kind of a carry on point number 3. Drop what doesn't. Drop what doesn't. So there's a word, it starts with the letter D, that everybody needs to do more of. Does anybody want to guess what that word is? When I refer drop what's not working for you, there's a word that starts with the letter D that people need to do more of it. Anybody want to take a guess?
Delegate.
There it is. Bingo! First try, right out of the gate. Woohoo! Way to go, Maria. Yeah. Write this down. If it's not an income generating activity, delegate it. If it's not an income generating activity, delegate it. So when I think of drop what doesn't work is real estate agents doing admin work, processing paperwork, doing TC work. That doesn't work. That's not efficient. If it's not an income generating activity, delegate it.
Hey, Robert, so you want us to grind?
I want you to grind, baby.
I see.
You got to do it. I tell you, if I knew a better way, I would tell you. Because I have to grind with recruiting. Okay. So I'm making prospecting calls just the way you are. Okay. I go on appointments just the same way everyone else does. And I wish there was an easier way. Trust me, we've thought about it every angle we could. Maybe we could get leads this way and that way. We try, man. It doesn't work. Right. You got to grind, baby. If it's not an income generating activity, delegate it. Get out of the paperwork business. Okay. Learn your scripts, preview property, prospect, follow up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts. Let the TCs do their work. Let the escrow do their work. Let the title do their work. Get out of it. Okay. I also want to go back up to drop what doesn't. Very similar to do what works is you have to track your numbers and track your sources. Stop doing things that aren't working for you. Okay. Be honest with yourself. I also wrote down here, drop what doesn't. Run a profit and loss statement. Run a profit and loss statement. And you have to be, the reason you have to run a profit and loss statement is because you might be looking at a source that, you know, is closing a deal, but you're not looking at how much money it's costing you to do it. So let me give you an example. Well, you know, I did close a deal last year off of the postcards that I sent. Okay. Well, what did you make off of that deal? Well, after, you know, my commission split and stuff like that, I made $8,000. Okay, great. Well, cool. How much did you spend on postcards? Well, I spent about $1,000 a month. Okay, so you spent $12,000 in postcards and you got $8,000 in return. For those of you that didn't, aren't really good business people, that's not good business. So, but sometimes we think in terms of profit is like, well, I got $8,000 off of these postcards. Well, but sometimes you have to look at the cost of these things, you know? I'm running ads, I'm doing things like that. You know, you have to look at the business side of things. So look at run a profit and loss to figure out if you need to drop anything. Okay. Drop what doesn't. What little things are you paying for that you're not using? So let me give you an example. You know, we just did this with an agent who changed their CRM because, like so many other people, well, I want a CRM that does everything and it's got every gadget and every tool and this and that. And despite my best efforts to tell you that you will never use all the things that these things you have, this agent did it and they were spending $500 a month on the CRM. Fast forward 6 months, they've now spent $3,000 on the CRM. And I said, hey, let me ask you, how many of the tools have you used in the CRM? None. Great. Get out of it. So they just got out of their CRM to go to something that does all the stuff with the scheduling and notes and stuff like that. Okay. So it's sometimes the expenses. Drop what does not working. Could be an expense. Okay. This is just what the great people do. But you got to delegate some things here. All right. 3 more. Number 5, ability to adapt. Ability to adapt. Great agents have the ability to adapt. So give me an example of the ability to adapt in our world of real estate today.
I'm sorry, Robert. What was number 4?
Number 4 is drop what doesn't work. Number 3 is do what works. Number 4 is drop what doesn't work. So very similar points.
Hey, Robert, but
Yes.
that doesn't mean that we have to drop ourselves, right?
No, no, no.
Zoom meetings.
Zoom meetings. Yeah. Technology, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Hangouts, being able to do meetings like this with your clients could be far more efficient for your business if you can do some things like this. If you do some more meetings, you know, get more FaceTime with people. Yeah, great. What else? What else is an ability to adapt in today's world? I wrote down 2 more. One of them I talked about earlier, and another one we talk about all the time. But what do you think? What's another ability to adapt?
Scripts?
Scripts? Any particular script? There's one script in general that I specifically wrote down. Adapting to today's real estate market.
Changing market script.
Oh, that's a good one. Actually, I didn't write that one down, but yes, that is a great one. Thank you. Yeah, the changing market script is another one. Yeah, because the market's changing, so adapt that. There's an objection handler specifically. Anyone?
What do you plan to do?
No.
What are you planning?
No. No. There's a specific objection handler that we've adapted the objection handler based on the market.
Commission.
That's the one we, oh,
Yay!
yeah.
Ability to adapt. Stop saying you charge 6% commission. Stop saying you charge 6% commission in a marketplace when the buyer's agent's commissions are shrinking at an incredible rate. And we are fighting to get the buyer's agent 3%. And sellers are walking away. I charge whatever, 2.78, 2.75, 3, 2.5, whatever you want to charge. All you have to do is decide what you want to pay the buyer's agent. 2%, great, sign. You have to adapt. No, I charge 6%. That's my standard. Okay, great. Lose listings. It's up to you. That's fine. You're going to get some at 6%, but you're going to lose some. Get yours. Get yours. I also wrote down here, just like I talked earlier, the ability to adapt. There are less people raising their hands saying, I'm looking to sell. We have to get better at asking questions. We have to dig deeper. This is where the great agents make their money, is they're asking more questions. They're digging deeper. Other agents are just still stuck in the times of, well, you know, they'll call me when they're ready. That's just not happening. You have to ask questions, be a deal maker. Ability to adapt. Okay. I wrote down, get familiar with technology, but don't let technology run your life. You have to adapt. You have to be comfortable with it, but don't let it run your life. Don't spend too much time on it where it's going crazy. All right. Number 6, surround yourself with positive people. Surround yourself with positive people. Okay. Great agents surround themselves with positive people. So I wrote down here a couple things. There's a Neil Schwartz quote that I always refer to on surround yourself with positive people. In 5 years, you are the same person you are today, except for the books you read and the people you hang out with. In 5 years, you're the same person you are today, except for the books you read and the people you hang out with. So 5 years from now, you hang around with a certain crowd of people, you're going to be up here, and you hang around with a different crowd of people, you're going to be down here. Okay. I also wrote down you become who you surround yourself with. Now, in this little Zoom community that we have, we tend to be pretty positive. I'm like the world's, biggest cheerleader. And I mean that by, both enthusiasm and weight. So, we go with both. So we try to be as positive as possible, but we only have so much of your attention. Who are you surrounding yourself with outside of here? I remember Mike told us this at a coach's training one time. He said, all right, let's talk about how much influence you might have over somebody. And he said, okay, so let's say they work 40 hours a week. They have 80 30-minute segments in their work week. Okay. And he said, how long are the coaching calls? He said 20 to 30 minutes. He says, okay, great. So let's say you go 30 minutes, just as a round up. You've taken one 30-minute segment and they have 80 of them in their work week. He said, so you can only make so much of an impact on their week because you're at 1/80th of their time. Now I was on coaching calls. Now within this Zoom community, we have Neil, myself, we have a little bit more because we're doing more training. But the point is that this community can only do so much. Outside of this, you have to be careful of who you're surrounding yourself with. Are you still surrounding yourself with positive people? Or is it positive, great energy within the Zoom community? And then as soon as you log off, it's, the cloud is following you again. So you have to be careful who you surround yourself with. I wrote down here, though, this is an important thought. Some people are negative around you because you allow it. So don't allow it, or they think you're miserable as well, and misery loves company. So don't allow negative people to be negative around you. Stop them. And if they think you're miserable, then that's the way you're perceiving yourself. Don't perceive yourself that way. So see, some people think it's arrogant to talk about success. I don't. Now it's different if you're boasting about it and you're walking around going, I'm so great. Look at me. But if you're just simply happy of your success and people say, hey, Robert, how's work going? Oh, it's actually going fantastic. I took 3 listings this week. I've got 2 deals in escrow. I'm on pace to have the biggest year of my life. It's fantastic. All I did was answer your question honestly. It's not boasting. And if they think it's boasting, then you don't want to be around those people. Okay, but they could be negative around you because they think you're miserable as well, and the misery loves company. So you have to be careful. Sometimes it could be you causing this. All right, then number 7, provide great service. Provide great service. So what would be an example of providing great service? Give me an example.
Be a good
This is
communicator.
concerning.
Be a good communicator.
Be a great communicator. Give me an example of great service. Nobody responds. My coach's hat just exploded.
Call them before they call you.
Be a great communicator. Call them before they call you. Sure. Yeah, that's a great one. I really like that one. Good. What else? What would be an example of great service? What would be an example of great service? Come on. Come on. We're almost done here. 2 minutes.
Anticipation. Anticipate their needs.
Anticipate their needs. Sure. You're working with a buyer or seller. You know what they're going through. You know what questions they're going to have. You know the process. Give it to them up front. Sure. I wrote down here, this is one of my favorite Mike Ferry lines. There's a direct correlation between the level of service we provide and the amount of income we receive. I'll read that again. There is a direct correlation between the level of service we provide and the amount of income we receive. A lot of people can find a deal. they can find a couple deals. What John Peyton's talking about is these are the great agents that always are in deals and have a long-term business here. You can't do that if you're not providing great service. You can find a deal. You can maybe even have a really great year, but eventually it catches up to you. If you want a career as a successful agent, that's a great line right there. You have to provide great service. I wrote down here, great service never ends. Great service never ends. If you don't provide great service when there is no money on the line, you won't be involved when there is. If you don't provide great service when there is no money on the line, you won't be involved when there is. So what do you think I mean by that?
Well, it means that if you're not providing great service, whether they are paying you or not, when they are willing to do business, then they won't call you.
Sure, exactly. Great service means that even when they're not in the middle of a transaction, I'm still calling them and giving them market updates. I'm still calling them and asking them, hey, I'm sure you've heard, read, or seen something about the real estate market recently. What questions do you have that I can answer? I'm still calling them to check in to see if there's any way I can help them. I'm calling in to see if there's any housing things I can help out with. Do you need a pool guy? You need a remodeling person? You need a plumber? You need an electrician? Great service never ends. It's not just when there's money on the line. So we're right up at 1 o'clock here. But again, just to recap here, John Peyton, the president of all the presidents of Realogy, guy who knows a few things, said the 7 things that separate the great real estate agents from the rest. He said it's the cliches: hard work, discipline, do what works, drop what doesn't, ability to adapt, surround yourself with positive people, provide great service. Questions on any of this stuff we went over today?
And you said his last name is Peyton?
Peyton, P-E-Y-T-O-N, John Peyton. He's the president of all the presidents of the Realogy companies. No.